Cassandra Acly is going to give us a presentation on the Economic Development Department.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I see we've been smiling down at you already. So welcome to the Economic Development and Planning Department. And thought we would introduce our staff. On the left is Elaine Lukowski, our CDBG Administrative Assistant. Rose Canoyer is next. She's our CDBG Coordinator. The next one is myself. The next one is Karen Loyne, who is our Conservation Commission staffer. The photograph on the right is actually, that's Mike Barch, who is a contract employee. He's not actually an employee. He is our housing rehabilitation specialist and spends a lot of time with us, so I wanted him to be included. Put this right over here. So the mission of our department is to support existing development and enable and advance future development by proposing and facilitating advantageous growth. And to do that, we have three functions. They're related functions: community development, economic development, and planning. In fact, they're so related that they usually overlap. Usually everything we do is a combination of one or two or three. Our department is a little bit different than the others because we exist quite a bit in the future, preparing for the future or making provisions for the future. And the other curious thing about the Economic Development and Planning Department, or ED&P, is that our work is mostly project-based rather than statutory function-based, which is a little bit different than some, at least in mostly. So, in order to fulfill our mission, we have those functions, and I thought that I would just describe a few of the responsibilities that we have under those functions. We have about 24 to 36 projects going on, and I wish I could describe them, but there's not enough time. They're fun, they're exciting, but there's just not enough time, so I'm just going to go over the responsibilities that we have, referring maybe to one or two. First of all, in the community development function, I think it's the best way to describe that is improving quality of life for all of the citizens in our town. That means building and reconstructing public as well as private facilities. It means planning for the future, of course, even social services, all kinds of things that we do. And that photograph on the left is a new community development project that we're about to undertake, which is the redevelopment or restructuring or reconstructing of Overland Street. If you've ever been on that street, you may know that it's needed. And the project on the right is a very old project. That's actually the walking path at Capillo Park, and that was done under our program. So probably the biggest responsibility that we have in the community development function is the overseeing of the CDBG program. It's actually a very important program because in the last 10 years, it's actually brought in $8.5 million. That's actually $8.5 million that came into our local economy. So it's kind of, we feel, a very important function, something that we do, but it also takes a lot of time. It takes about 50% of my time, 100% of Rose and Elaine's time. On the left is an older CDBG project. That's a park over by the Big Bunny. And on the right is our latest completed project. That's the reconstruction of Morton Street. And if you've been on that, you'll realize that really did contribute to quality of life. I had to put this in here too because not all grants are CDBG grants. This is the other bridge. Mr. Clark showed you one bridge. This is the earlier bridge that was completed this fall by the DPW. They designed and built this bridge on the Quinnebog Valley Rail Trail. And that was done with earmark funds. So that would be a community development project. Other projects we do are the Make Southbridge Home, which Rose does, working with Mr. Clark. Historical projects, we have not done those in a while because there's no money to match. But when we do, it's a great way to refurbish our beautiful historic buildings like this. Brownfields referrals, get the let-out program, trail and open space we've mentioned. We did a lot of trail work along the Quinnebog. The town's websites, we hope to have a Clark intern this year to help us because our main website is so full of information that it's pedantic and very difficult to navigate. And staff support for the Conservation Commission. Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act requires a lot of conservation commissions, and I don't know how they would do it if they didn't have Karen Loyne, who's very professional and very efficient at what she does. That's Lucy's Laundromat, and I put that slide in here because that's one of our brownfields referral projects. So the next function I would like to discuss is economic development. And I'm going to read this because I don't want to forget one word. Economic development involves working to maintain and gain jobs and companies, addressing the needs of the downtown and other business districts, planning for infrastructure and other support for future economic development, all with the end goal of increasing the tax base. So basically, that's what it is. And the responsibilities that we have include providing staff support to the Economic Development Commission and the Redevelopment Authority. Wish I had time to describe what these excellent groups do. Encourage and facilitate enterprise. Act as the liaison to the Southbridge Downtown Partnership. Actually, we work with downtown property owners and we work with downtown businesses also. We have a visitation program, which is a way of building and maintaining relationships with business and industry. The motive here is to do our part to encourage them to grow and stay right here in Southbridge. They are private and we don't have any business interfering in their affairs, but it's very important that we visit them to find out if there's something the town can do to help them in any way. So we have this program where we visit them. Not as much as we wish. We hope in the future to do more of that. Assistance to small business is another economic development responsibility. And I know that you are all aware that small business is the backbone of the American economy. It's really not the Fortune 500 companies, it's the small businesses. But it's very hard to be successful or to start a small business. So we lend whatever assistance and advice we can. We forward sometimes on to other programs that we know of if we can be of assistance. We support the town managers' initiatives. Most town managers, including ours, like to do economic development and projects of their own, so we are always ready to help and support whenever we can. And working with CDCs and other organizations because they have programs that can help our town business and industry. I thought I would like to include these two slides because they actually show two examples of what you will be seeing in downtown businesses in the future. The one on the left is Planter's Envy, which is a retail, but it is also a service type of industry, a service kind of shop. And actually, they're doing a great job of figuring out their market. They have all kinds of supplies now and products for people who like to garden or have houseplants. The one on the right is Styles, which has been there for about maybe 5 or 6 years, and they also do a great job of identifying their market. They are a retail store, but they are a boutique retail rather than a general purpose clothing that you would have had in the past. So in the future, in the downtown, you will see more service-oriented and specialized stores, not competing with the mall, not competing with the internet, which is something that you would only be able to get if you went to a local place. Our visitation program, which we really love and we're very proud of, is highlighted here on these slides. We recently made a visit to A&M Tool and Die where we discovered that they are following the same trend that industry all over Massachusetts and the world really is. Less low-skilled labor, more high-tech, highly skilled jobs, so they have less employees and they have a lot of very, very expensive equipment. They're doing some wonderful things at AM Tool and I. We're very proud of them. On the right, I don't know if you recognize that building. That's down in the Hamilton Mills. And that is the Createch building. And I don't know if you're familiar with that business, but it's a very small business, yet they compete almost worldwide, I believe, but certainly nationwide. They make fake rocks, fake buildings, fake trees, fake anything. Their stuff can be found on all the cruise lines, like the rock walls, for instance. Disney World is one of their clients. They just are very creative and they do some exciting things. And I put it here because I didn't know if the people of Southbridge really knew about them. So the last function that I wanted to discuss is planning. We offer staff support for the planning board. We recommend land use, zoning, and planning initiatives. We represent the town's planning functions locally and regionally. Actually, what that means is that we act as the town planner. And we research and analyze planning trends. There's an awful lot, actually the planning industry actually is very trendy, and there's a lot of information out there, a lot of books, a lot of new ideas, and you have to kind of keep up on your reading to find out if any of these would be helpful for the town. Some examples of that are things that are currently being worked on, like remember the chicken bylaws, which we're still talking about. And you can't talk about planning without remembering subdivisions, because subdivisions are the way that we create new neighborhoods in our town. And what the planning board would like you to know is that the neighborhoods that are created through them, they hope, will be advantageous and good and rightfully zoned. And that actually completes my presentation of the Economic Development and Planning Department, and I wanted to close with these slides, which I think are representative of all three of our functions. The slide on the left is of the Flatiron Building. Of course, it's economic development. There are stores there. There are apartments up above. It's community development because when the owner refurbished that building, he actually gave an uplifting to the whole neighborhood. And it's zoning, because that's a very difficult area with mixed zoning. And if we didn't have creative zoning, this project would not have been allowed to go forward. And it would have been a shame to lose that building, or even worse, to have it continue to go downhill and be an eyesore. The project on the right is from this very room on the 12th of December when we had our master planning forum. And I put that slide in here because I think master planning just takes the whole gamut. It's very, very important for economic development, community development, as well as planning. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Ackley.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions? Or Councilor Moriarty?
Certainly you have a lot of different balls that are in the air at any given time, but just out of curiosity, where is your department most efficient and least efficient right now?
Ooh, I was afraid you would ask that question. Well, I think that the most efficient place, I think the most efficient function is, or there are two of them equally so. I think the CDBG program and other grant programs and the planning program, because there are statutes and regulations that require us to complete them whether we have the time or not. So we just have to do it. Sometimes we don't have the time. And they kind of take away a lot of time from other functions too, to be honest.
Great. Thank you
Okay.
again. Thank you.